Good morning and welcome to Very Detroit. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know if you know much about our show. We are Detroit centric and we are happy to be broadcasting here to the Metro Detroit area. Thanks for tuning in. My sidekick, Tracy Moy, is here with me.
Hello, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Just coming out of a Halloween week, right?
Yes, and a quick reminder that it's daylight savings this weekend, so everybody is going to save an hour, which will be good for those of us who like to sleep.
Yes. With us right now, we have Andy Meyer tuned in, calling in. Hi, Andy.
Hello. How are we
Hey.
doing?
Hey, Andy.
Hey, Tracy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks.
So, Andy, thank you again for your opening music there of our show, Peninsula Music, that you and your partners have created.
Of course.
Tell us a little bit about your music.
Well, Peninsula is just John and I. So John Mills is from mid-Michigan, and over the years we would play music together, listen to music, go see music, and I think you see the trend here.
Yeah. What's interesting?
A lot of music going on, and we started. I started to record him just in a living room and in a basement here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, it kind of evolved into a project where we were able to save a few bucks and get into the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And so we recorded our albums down in Greensboro, North Carolina. And just self-distribute all the vinyl and digital media.
Mm-hmm.
And our music's available on iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, all that good stuff.
What's interesting
Pandora and everything.
What's interesting about how music is being created today, and I'd like you to touch on, is the collaboration possibilities using the web and new technologies. Because really, from what you've told me, it's really kind of like a virtual collaboration as you guys make this music.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've had a couple different DJs do remixes of the songs, and that was good because it introduces your music to a different audience that might not hear it otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
and gives it a new spin. Breathe some fresh air into the music. And all of Peninsula's music is instrumental, so we do have distribution in countries that have speak other languages. So it's kind of nice to reach across cultural boundaries, and the words don't really get in the way because it's there's no certain language, just the language of music.
Sure. So where can someone access the Peninsula catalog of music?
Well, my favorite one is Bandcamp, so peninsula.bandcamp.com. We've got our full catalog of songs there and some merchandise too.
Good, good.
But anywhere you find digital music, so Pandora, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, and Google. Yeah, anywhere you can listen to and download music. Also SoundCloud.
Good. Andy, I know you've been kind of checking out what's happening this weekend here in Detroit as far as the music scene's concerned. What have you found to share with our listeners?
Oh, yes. Well, I thought you in particular would appreciate this too. So check this out. The historic Bluebird Inn
Mm-hmm.
on Tyerman. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
So it used to be a pretty swinging jazz and bebop joint back in the 30s, and then into the 40s it became known as the hub for jazz and bebop in Detroit.
Mm.
So quite a ways back, but there are a few companies locally, Detroit Sound 5 and the Kresge Foundation gave a nice grant to this project. So between the Detroit Sound Conservancy,
Mm-hmm.
which is a great local venture, Detroit Sound 5 and Kresge Foundation, they're reimagining what reopening of the historic Bluebird Inn could look like, which I think is awesome. The building's pretty amazing. It's got a nice historic architecture in the front, and it's still there. And I've driven by it and wondered, what if. So it's good to see these companies coming together, putting out an initiative to reopen it as a venue.
Right, working together.
So get this. yeah, working together with the community, and more so than normal because so tonight there's a free concert. It's the Marianne Haydn Ensemble,
Okay.
so a full ensemble of jazz that's free with an RSVP. I did it yesterday. You just go on, give your email and name,
Mm-hmm.
and basically you're signed up and free admission. So that's from 7 to 10 tonight
Nice.
at
that's great.
Lightbox, which I have never been there, but Lightbox is at 8641 Linwood on Detroit's west side.
So to go back on the on Bluebird, so what is when is it open?
Well, that's the thing. So tonight there's this free concert to kind of rally around the project and get people out and involved.
Okay.
And then tomorrow, I think at noon, there's a meal, so anyone can come, whether to learn or to suggest ideas, suggest options for the reopening. So basically, Detroit Sound Conservancy is planning the purchase, renovation, and eventual reopening. So they have not set a date yet. So the exciting thing is you can go get involved right now at the ground floor.
Nice.
But the pull tonight is the ensemble, so a free concert from 7 to 10.
Great.
And then
Great.
tomorrow from noon until, I believe it's 4 o'clock, you can come and get involved as well and throw your 2 cents in.
At the same place, Lightbox.
It'll be at Lightbox, yep.
Okay.
8641 Linwood Street.
Ooh, excellent. Now, what else is going on this weekend?
There's quite a bit. So have you been to MOCAD, the Museum of Contemporary Art, Detroit?
Yeah.
Yes, all right, Tracy's been.
Mm-hmm. We've been,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I can't get there enough. The place is great. Between that and the DIA, I think I could split my time evenly. Be pretty happy. But so Party Store Productions, they've been around Detroit since 2010. They like to bring music to the people, and sometimes in places where you wouldn't really expect it. So MOCAD has a lot of shows, but tomorrow night at 8 o'clock there is Ty Segall. So Ty Segall, he's got 10 studio albums, originally from California, but just known as an American singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist extraordinaire. He's on Goner Records and quite a few more. I'll stop there. But
And that he's
so
going to
Ty Segall, he's playing a solo acoustic show, which is kind of special. Normally he's got a backing band, but kind of a more intimate setting here at MOCAD tomorrow night.
Nice.
MOCAD surprisingly has amazing artists come in, and if you don't actually go to their website, it's not really that broadcast because the venue's not large. I mean, they had Questlove in, I think, a couple months ago too, and it's unexpected, but they have great people come in.
You're right. No, you're completely right. And honestly, I usually find out about their shows from Facebook. But
Yeah, but it's not widely known
no,
sometimes.
not necessarily. I mean, yeah, you can see some signage or posters around town and event page here and there. But you're right. The caliber of music is pretty amazing there.
good variety of shows. I know I've seen digital video productions there, artistic, all kinds of variety at MOCAD, which is great thing to have in our city. So if you haven't visited MOCAD, check it out. And then this weekend sounds like a good time to do it. Some other things happening. Tracy, what is happening in the art scene?
At the DIA this weekend, they're kind of reopening the Asian wing of the museum.
Oh, reopening.
Yes, they're adding Asian instruments and contemporary sounds, and they're having a workshop tonight for Korean paper crafts. It's from 6 to 9, and it's decorating paper trays with cut paper motifs, and it's a symbolic of happiness and longevity. And I believe there is also at the DFT on Sunday a Japanese, I think it's music based, and honestly, I can't remember what it is. But if you are into Asian culture and Japanese culture and Korean culture, check out the website and the DIA and the DFT.
Seems like
That
it's
sounds
almost
good.
like a all Asian weekend here in Detroit right now too. Big thing happening is YumaCon,
Oh,
which is the Japanese manga anime event. Where uh, have you heard of this show, Andy? YumaCon?
no, I haven't.
Yeah, it's actually a huge show happening at the Cobo Hall, Renaissance Center,
And the Marriott in
and
Detroit.
and the Marriott. So they
Okay.
usually sell out. Everyone dresses up in their favorite costumes. There's video gaming. It's quite an elaborate event. So I think it's kind of cool that we're having it here in Detroit.
Yeah. I'm sure they've got a website that's pretty searchable.
Yeah, yeah.
If anyone wants to check that out, I wonder how much that would be.
To go to the show, I don't want to misspeak, but I think it was something like $70 for a 3-day pass, is what I saw, which is
But
kind
for
of
3 full days of event.
yeah.
Maybe
Or if you want to
great.
go daily, is that right?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to spell it for everybody because I got it wrong about 3 times. It's YOUMACON.
And it's interesting how the world is constantly getting smaller, and our interests in so many different things globally now, and especially the influence of Japanese culture, some Korean culture. It's great to get exposure to that here in our city.
Definitely.
So I think it's a unique time in Detroit for things like this, artistic, and bringing in people from all over the place. I know that people are coming in for this show from all over to attend. So if you get a chance, check it out. We will try to check out some of it for sure, just to even get some pictures of some wild costumes and whatnot. Which, if you look at their website, everyone dresses up in all kinds of different gear and then plays video games and whatnot. So yeah,
Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, let's keep this Halloween thing going. I wasn't ready for Halloween to be done.
yeah, Halloween's a
You know
fun
what I mean?
fun time of the year.
No, I think the parties still continue into this weekend,
Yeah,
That's
for
right.
sure. For
I like
sure.
where your head's at.
from what I
And-
hear.
So on Sunday, I don't know if you heard about this, another free event. There's the world's largest food truck rally on Belle Isle.
Oh,
Park.
nice.
That sounds cool.
So it's got the Guinness World Record for the largest food truck event. So it's a one-day event, Sunday, free.
Is
Soul
this
food, Korean cuisine, burgers, crepes, lobster, all that.
is it
65
annual
trucks.
then? If
I
it
think
holds a
it
world
should
record?
be. It's well, it moves from town to town, but it
Okay.
sounds like the kind of thing that could stick with Belle Isle and be an annual free event.
Yeah, they certainly have the space.
They do. So yeah, Belle Isle is doing great things, and
Hopefully the weather.
all
What's the
sorts of
weather
things
supposed to
happening
be
there.
like this weekend? Anyone know? As far as Sunday, that's a big deal for that kind of an event, right?
How about 46 and rainy? Because that's what it's been for the last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll be nicer on Belle Isle. Sometimes it's just nicer on Belle
Oh,
Isle.
Sunday, 54, mostly cloudy.
Oh,
yes,
So if you can get there during the day, you might be safe.
no rain
At night.
at night. All right.
Yeah.
So daytime food
Yeah,
trucking.
daytime food truck rally.
Yeah. give it
Perfect.
up.
I love food
Right.
trucks.
I mean, the variety that we have nowadays too is pretty cool. Like that one place called Fleet in Ferndale, which has food trucks that visit. I wish there was more that came.
right. They
But-
do have kind of a rotating cast of characters,
Yeah.
cast of trucks.
They do. I really liked the mashed potato one that I don't know if it's there anymore, but it was delicious.
That's the cool thing with food trucks. They can really specialize into one particular thing and really get good at it. And, like mashed potatoes.
Yeah. My favorite food. All right, Andy, anything else?
I mean, there's so much going on. So yeah, I mean, Metro Times has a nice list of shows, and then any event postings on all the social media channels. But
Who's the
I mean,
the band?
those look like the highlights to me.
Who's the band to see this weekend? If you were a music aficionado, which one would you see on Saturday night?
The band. Well, let's see. Well, Sunday and Monday night, oddly enough. Saturday, I don't know. I'm still torn what to actually do. But
Mm-hmm.
Sunday and Monday at Deluxe Flux,
Yeah.
which is right downtown on the Belt. a fairly new venue. Also, Party Store Productions does a lot of things with them. But Waves will be playing, so kind of psych rock, indie, garage rock kind of feel, both Sunday and Monday night there. So if you can't go one night, there are two chances you get there.
All right. Sounds good.
I've yet to actually go to that venue. I've been trying to, but
I like the name.
a lot of the shows do sell out because it's a smaller room. But yeah, they have fantastic bands coming through there all the time. Bands, DJs, all types of genres too.
Well, thank you, Andy, so much for participating in our show this weekend.
Anytime, my pleasure.
All right, so Andy, have a good weekend, and thank you again.
All right, no problem. Yeah, have a great show, and I'll be listening. Looks like you have some good interviews coming up. Let's get political a little bit.
Yeah, we will for
Let's
sure.
hope.
We will for sure. We're waiting on a few callers to call in right now.
In the meantime, I'll tell you what else is going on for people who aren't music lovers or band enthusiasts. There is a kids cooking class at the Eastern Market in the community kitchen in Shed 5, and that's on Saturday, November 3rd. I think they have rotating Saturdays, so definitely check the website. But this Saturday, it's breakfast foods from 10 to 11:30. And proper cooking attire is recommended for these little ones. And it's winter, so I don't think anybody's going to be showing up in flip-flops. But that does sound fun. And it tickets, they sell out, so sign up early. And the classes are $15 each. And
So this is for children to cook.
it's children's cooking classes in the Eastern Market, which sounds incredible. And I'm thinking about taking my own little one.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be a good, fun way to teach them how to be self-sufficient.
Oh yeah, but to meet other kids, and it seems like a great event.
And this week's Korean
No, it's breakfast.
breakfast. I don't know why I haven't got this Asian.
I know you do because you're a grandma and you like it.
Yumacon. Yumacon.
Also, Friday and Saturday is Cirque de la Symphonie at Orchestra Hall, and it's choreographed to live music performed by the DSO. So if anybody is a Cirque du Soleil fan, I've gotten to see a couple of shows in Vegas, and they're incredible. So if that interests you at all, it's acrobatics and contortionists and jugglers and that kind of thing. But the DSO should be supported regardless because it's an amazing orchestra, and that's at Orchestra Hall Friday and Saturday. And then this is somewhere that Danko and I checked out a couple weeks ago when we were walking down the DeQuinder Cut and we went up the riverfront. We saw the Outdoor Adventure Center, which is in the Glow Building.
What a cool place.
Yeah, it was fun. And we didn't totally explore it, but we checked out. They have birthday parties. It's family fun. It's hands-on activities. It's exhibits. It's simulators. And it's in a fabulous location. So if you haven't been through the DeQuinder Cut or you haven't walked the riverfront, I recommend doing both of those things, but definitely check out the Adventure Center, especially if you have kids.
What a great opportunity to visit downtown, be by the riverfront, and let them learn a little bit about nature, because it's really it's run by the MDEQ, I think, Michigan's Department of Environmental Quality, I think. And they teach youngsters about some of the different things in our environment here in Michigan. So looks like a really nice place to have a party, invite different people to get together down there, and then maybe before and after kind of take a little walk along the riverfront or up and down the DeQuinder Cut, which is really kind of a cool crossing right there.
The DeQuinder Cut is great.
Yeah.
It's basically from Eastern Market to the riverfront. They have amazing graffiti art. It's gorgeous. It's a 2-mile trail. There's a ton of bikers. There's scooter people,
Right.
because you can rent scooters downtown. You need an app and you unlock the scooter. There's joggers, there's walkers. It's very easily accessed from the Easter Market, and it takes you right to the riverfront, so you can see the carousel and I mean that alone is a really nice walk.
What is about 2-3 miles?
I think it's about 2 miles.
Yeah.
And they have on one side of it a little beer garden and some little shops. I don't know when it closes for the winter or if it does, but you can they have a couple of food truck vendors out there. At least they did when we were there. And it's built out of these really nice storage containers, and they made a lovely structure.
And I think they're having music there at the freight yard. It's called.
Freight yard. Yeah.
So nice way to spend a Saturday or Sunday walking through the DeQuinder Cut and checking out a lot of the cool art that's there from artists locally and from different places. I think have put murals and graffiti throughout there. Some might be local, some might not.
The graffiti's amazing.
Yeah.
And there's also a ton in Easter Market. And I think Easter Market actually does walking tours. And they talk about it and they describe it. So I'm assuming there's a docent that is educated in all this graffiti mural art that knows what they're talking about more than I do.
But just to be able to appreciate it is good. All right, so we have our first caller coming in right now, Mr. Pete Lucido.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Lucido. How are you today? Thank you for calling into our show.
You're welcome. This is Representative Lucido.
Representative Lucido. I apologize, sir.
I made a mistake. I still am an elected official, I think.
Yes. Well, it's kind of tricky sometimes, and we apologize about that, Representative Lucido.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
So now you're interested in you're the Republican nominee for District 8, the 8th district for state
Correct.
Senate, correct?
Correct.
So what now I know a Republican candidate is coming has reached their term limits there, Brandenburg?
Senator Jack Brandenburg, my colleague now in the Senate and also my friend, yeah, they reached their term limits and then they start the clocks all over again with new candidates. This is the way the legislature has decided to run over the years. It's interesting because once somebody gains experience and knowledge, you really shouldn't have them leaving. You should have them staying if they're doing a great job. And unfortunately, when I ran my law practice for over 30 years, the ones that stayed actually benefited me more because they had the knowledge, the experience, and at least they appreciated their job. So it makes it very difficult, these term limits. But until things change, we're stuck with them.
Yeah, but on the other side, maybe it prevents people from being in there too long, too, possibly.
I don't disagree. I think you have the right to fire an employee like I did when I didn't have, I guess, the appreciation of the individual for their job
Yeah.
and doing the job that they should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what term limits have done. It showed you have a way of flushing somebody out who isn't giving their all.
Right.
And when you're dealing with public dollars, when you're dealing with public trust, one should have the right to flush those out that are not dealing with the public in a fair way.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about some of the issues here that are coming up on for our voters. First of all, when I looked at the 8th district map and one of the proposals for gerrymandering, how did the 8th district get cut up like this? It looks really odd.
Well, it looks odd to you, but here's what happens. Every 10 years, the public should know that the census is done by the federal division, not the state.
Oh.
That census is brought to the state, and what ends up happening is they have to cut the district of 90,000 if you're a state representative, about 270,000 if you're a senator. And what you're doing is you're taking a balance, if you will, of individuals. They can do it like a square if you can. Sometimes you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, the party that's in power. So before 2010, I think the control was in the Democratic. You can look at it. And then after 2010, it became Republican. But the way the law is right now and the way that the Constitution is, that we've been doing it for over 200 years here in Michigan, we have been allowing the party in charge. So it flips back Democrat, Republican. If you recall, we used to have Governor Blanchard, then it went to Governor Engler, and then it went to Governor Granholm, then it went to Governor Schneider.
Correct.
And it's flipped back and forth. So the party who's in power in the House and the Senate has, during that time, every 10 years, the way the Constitution reads, the census comes out, and that party in charge, that party in power, is sitting with a committee to go ahead and cut the districts up. Because people move, and when they move, we don't know if they're Democrats or Republicans. It's wherever individuals move. We give them a 90,000 state House district and about 270,000 for a Senate district.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think it's funny that you're mentioning this, because I don't think people, you're like, okay, I live here and I'm going to move here, but I voted for this person. And I don't think people actually think about the ramifications of all of this stuff. And it just occurred to me as you were talking about it.
Well, I do know this. I do know that I've moved from south, north. I do know that our statistical data in Macomb County of where the service is needed is towards now the north, because more people are moving north. And in the last 10 years, I can tell you this, the 36th district that I represent currently has mushroomed because people have pushed from the south to the north. And I don't know if it's because they like living more in a country setting. I don't know if they wanted more land. The housing is bigger market as far as the size of the bricks and the mortar.
Well, that's interesting you bring that up, because what I was going to ask you was, because your district, the 8th district, goes from 8 Mile Road all the way to the north of Ray Township, right?
Well, we need to have 270,000 people, so
Yeah.
I guess you can grab the entire north and push it down. Then it would really be gerrymandering, because
Yeah.
if you look at it, it'd be a slew of Republicans, because there is no secret. There is a lot more Republicans living in the north than there is in the south. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
And therefore,
Oh, yeah.
when you blend it with the south end, like you said, 8 Mile Road, moving north, because that's where I opened my first law office, was 8 Mile Road.
Good.
And I moved north as the population started moving north, because you had to service the population.
Right. Well, what's interesting, what we're seeing and talking to some realtors, is that because of the magnetic pull of Detroit, some of the neighborhoods along 8 Mile Road have started to go up, like East Point, St. Clair Shores, other ones that are close to the city. So how does that look now in the future for what you're going to do?
Doesn't matter to me. I grew up in St. Clair Shores. I'm homegrown in Macomb. I don't care what part of Macomb I have to represent. It's the voters that should select who they want to have served. So to me, I'm more of an individual, like, taking an oath as a lawyer, but also taking an oath in office. Those individuals that elect you, those are the ones you're going to have to serve. I don't think it's very difficult. I think it's more of this. There's proposals out on that ballot right now that concern me, that we may be picking people that have no experience or knowledge about how to go ahead and cut the district. But more importantly, we're paying people, and we don't even know if it's 40,000 or thereabout over. Cap was never put on this. So you're already paying legislators through tax dollars. You want to waste some more spending? Put some more people on a commission to what they called not gerrymander. We don't know exactly who these people are, if they're Democrats, if they're Republicans, because no one literally, unless they're filing for office, has ever solidified exactly what party.
So,
More important thing is, do they know what they're doing? If they don't know what they're doing, we're going to be left with whatever they do without any recourse. So I'm kind of concerned about it. I like fairness, I like equity, I like equality, but I don't want to know that somebody who's getting behind the wheel doesn't actually know how to drive. It's concerning. It is. And it should be concerning to all the voters out there. These questions were never vetted out, nor were they asked at a committee hearing to find out exactly how this thing works. Had they done it, I would have said, as long as they have somebody who has the expertise and the skill, more importantly, that we don't have to pay them because we're already paying legislators to do this work. And let's face it, everyone, when the House and the Senate flip and go back and forth like it has over the years, because history repeats itself,
Sure.
we have a right to have those individuals that represent us do the work for the people without any reservation, because those are the votes of the people.
Well, there's, I think, a lot of questions out there, as you were explaining, of how these changes will happen. I mean, the marijuana law that's up on the ballot as well, voter registration things. Also, what interests me about your district, the 8th District, is that its importance to the Metro Detroit area and its environmental situation, because of all your water that, basically you've got that whole side is all water over there. And what is your position as far as the environmental position in your district, in the 8th District?
Here, I'm going to make it very clear. I grew up on Lake St. Clair, so I've had the benefit of already knowing the lake, knowing the parties involved, and I'm also giving sensitivity to this. I've already had 2 lake town halls. I know you know about it because you've been following along with it. Mm-hmm. We've had Candace Miller, our new drain commissioner, when she took office. I want to know exactly what her protocol was, and she gave it to the voters, and she's indicated to the voters what her protocol is. She was going to go ahead and work on efforts to clean up our lake. I mean, that lake means a lot to this community.
Absolutely.
So before I even decided to run for office, the record's clear. Lucido was working on the lake. No one else was. I didn't see any bills going on the lake, nor did I see town halls about how to fix the lake.
That lake, there are people who don't live in your district that everybody takes part in that lake. So really, it should be a concern for
everyone. Every single person.
Yes.
I don't care if you're a legislator, if you're a citizen. If I'm paying tax dollars, I shouldn't have 14 of my 24 beaches closed every damn weekend. That's just baloney. That's just baloney.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that from you, Pete.
You want to keep that mode, then you know what? Keep the status quo. You want to change the diameter and the needle, change the record of how that damn music's playing.
Yeah, I appreciate you being concerned about that for our whole greater community. How do you see the 8th District and what's going to shape its the regional situation for Detroit, and how it interplays with like regional transport, regional transit, other things that are concerning? It seems like sometimes Macomb tries to pull out of anything that's happening regionally sometimes.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. Our executive was all in for regional transit, and then all of a sudden, he's against it. So I don't know how, government flips, but I do know this. I'd like to fix our roads before we start talking about transit. I'd like to fix our roads because we, the people, are the ones suffering every day on these roads.
Yes.
And I've had alternatives and options. As you well know, there was over $20 billion in the MCCA, Michigan Catastrophic Claims Authority. And I said, let's just use the interest only on this. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of money in this thing, and we're having automated cars or autonomous cars coming around the corner. Let's just make this happen. Use the interest only, fix the roads, and move on. I didn't get a hearing on it. I'm hoping that if, we have new management this next time around, somebody's going to give me a hearing, because the management is the one who takes up the bill.
Pete, Representative Lucido, I just wanted to see if there's something that you would like to tell our audience here as we wrap up, why you would be the right choice for State Senate.
I've got a skill set like no other up in the legislature. I've been a practicing lawyer for families and mom and pops, if you will, in Macomb County for 30-plus years. I've got a business degree, MBA. I've got insurance licenses and financial securities licenses. So I know a little bit about a lot. And I like to bring that skill set to the legislature and continue to represent the people. I've done my job for over 30 years. I consider myself to be a successful lawyer. I consider myself to be a husband, a father, and more importantly, a son to parents that are still alive, 95 and 88 respectively. And I think that I have the passion for this county and for the people that I serve. And I want to make sure that seniors are protected, veterans have their rights, more so that they're being given, and that people live with the quality of life that they deserve regarding the quality of their water, their air, without hesitation or reservation.
Well,
that's it.
There, you've heard it, folks. Representative Lucido running for the 8th District State Senator position. Thank you very much, Representative Lucido.
Thank you, and have a great day and a great weekend.
You too.
Thanks,
Take
you
care.
too.
Next up, folks, we have the Democratic candidate for state senator for the 8th District, Paul Francis. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Paul. Welcome to the show. Maybe you were tuned in and heard Representative Lucido talking about some of his concerns and issues that he's interested in for this district. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Paul.
Oh, yeah. I've been a lifelong Michigan resident. I was born in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Well, actually, I was born in Detroit. I grew up in Sterling Heights, Michigan, graduated from Western Michigan.
Good school. Really good school.
Yes, it is a good school. And for the last 15 years, I've lived in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. And I currently own my own business that I have with my father. It's called Big Bob's Instant Starting Firewood. And it's a product that me and him have a patent on it. It's like a all-wood version of a wax log, or as most people know wax logs by their brand name Duraflame.
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually partnered with the Amish. They build it for us down in Shipshewana. And you can get it online right now at HomeDepot.com and Amazon and a couple other online retailers.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they're probably more environmentally friendly. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, they are. And the product is 100% environmental friendly. It is the sawdust from their lumber mills where they make the furniture, and it's basically waste that we take and recycled into a product that you can use in your backyard or use in a camping trip. So the whole product is carbon neutral.
That's great.
What's it called again?
Big Bob's Firewood.
Nice. Well, way to go being an entrepreneur and coming up with that, and actually reusing environmental waste is kind of good too. So
yeah.
Let's talk about some of the key issues here in the 8th District, Paul. What is your opinion of what needs to happen and what hasn't happened in the past there in the state Senate for this position?
Well, listening to Pete, it's true that he has come up with some ideas to move forward on the lakes, to move forward on the roads. But as he just said, he wasn't able to get a hearing on the bill. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't even able to get the bill to have a hearing, and that's the first step in the process. When you introduce a bill, you have a hearing and conference, and then they vote on it. And if they like the bill, then they move it to the whole Senate's floor to debate. And one of the reasons that motivated me to run was the lack of anything getting done, especially for Metro Detroit. Pete, like I said, by his own admission, wasn't able to move his bill through, and the Republicans control every branch of government. And I feel that we haven't been able to get a fair share of money that we're paying in tax dollars back to Macomb County for the roads. And one of my initiatives is that I would like to see that if we could return 90% of the tax dollars that we pay in Macomb County for road to come back to Macomb County. And what we would have to first do would be able to have an audit to see where our tax dollars are going and then see if we can make sure we can fund the tax dollars back to the people that are paying them. And at the end of the day, I think we need transparency. It'd be great to have a website where you could just click on it and say Macomb County residents paid X in road improvement tax dollars, and here's the projects. And it'd be great to do it for the whole state, because then we'd have a better understanding where our tax dollars are being spent.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the use of all these dollars, and the typical Democratic position has been, let's increase the social services, let's increase the governmental programs, and let's use more and more tax dollars for social services.
I don't feel that's something that's labeled on the Democrats. In practicality, on national levels, we've only had two balanced budgets in the history of this country on a national level, and that was under LBJ and under Bill Clinton. So the label that the Democrats are tax and spend is, I want to say, an unfair label, because it's not true. What, as a Democrat, I feel that we need to do, and as hopefully a representative for Michigan, is we need to make sure the government invests the tax dollars to, what I like to say, set the table so business can succeed. Currently, you can see where the government hasn't done the minimum work to set the table. You see our infrastructure crumbling. You see a horrible water crisis in Flint. You see lack of public transportation, lack of a plan. Now, this doesn't work out well to attract new businesses. You know, we didn't even make, I think, the top 15 for Amazon. You know, we weren't laughed out of the room, but they said, look, you're missing on all these key things. So that's what government needs to do. Government doesn't need to fix the problems. Government needs to work with private businesses so we can all succeed and attract new businesses.
Well, give me an example of that for regional transport, regional transit.
Regional transit, we need to have a Metro Detroit regional transit plan to where we can come in and improve the current plan we have. We have kind of a patchwork system right now, and we also don't have a plan that people in the far suburbs embrace or know about. So it needs to be a mindset, but it needs to be something that has passion behind it to go out and say, here's our regional transit plan. Now, one of the things that we need to do while we're developing that is we need to develop our downtown area so there's people coming from the suburbs downtown to get jobs. We have a lot of people coming out of the city to come take jobs out here in the suburbs, but we need to make sure it's going both ways. And that's going to help build it, because once we get more demand for it, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, what I think is our show's about Detroit, very Detroit, and how this city is coming back, and how the region needs to kind of work together. I don't see the cohesiveness of the region like you do in like Chicagoland and other places, and it's thwarted our growth as a region, as a city, when anybody north of 8 Mile is not wanting to play with anybody south of 8 Mile. So I think we're looking at it really not right from the suburban perspective into the city. And I would like to know how regionally, because we work regionally. I mean, people work in Southfield and Detroit, and they may live in St. Clair Shores, but we're a region. We need to work together, and I think transit's a huge piece of that, which it always seems to get put on the back burner, but it is the core of developing our region. And
but it's the core of every developed city, like New York, like you said, New York, Chicago, even across Europe, like all of these cities have mass transit.
The key thing we need to go forward is the word you hit is develop as a region. And that's where the state Senate is important, because you have people from all different regions of the state there. And that's one of the key goals, is for them to lead on this. What they've done, in my eyes, is they've all come and been, I want the money for my area. I want a plan for my area.
Right.
That's one of my key things I'm running on is to make Michigan the high-tech hub of the Midwest. Michigan is unique. We have the highest concentration of engineers anywhere else in the country. Mm-hmm. We have 3 great colleges in the Tri-County area. We have the University of Michigan. We have Wayne State. We have Oakland University. And we have a premier community college, Macomb Community College. We need to leverage our high-tech expertise, our universities. We need to make sure that people who come to the universities aren't leaving, going out of state for other jobs.
Well,
that's something. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, they're gonna if the work isn't here. I mean, obviously Tesla's taken a few of our engineers over there and to California.
Yeah, we saw. I think our eyes were opened wide when we had this Amazon bid of the things that we're lacking. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of effort put into the Amazon bid. Now what we need to do is look, what did we miss for this bid? Let's use this as a learning experience. Let's go back and develop the areas that we're missing on that a premier company needs to choose your city. Also, I would propose in that bid, I think there was $40 billion roughly in tax subsidies. I would propose taking $5 billion of them and have them going to small companies to move here and make it a place where people are excited to move to. Also, you need to look at what every other city is doing successfully and bring it back. I mean, that's the good news about America is we have all these miniature areas of democracies, local and state governments. We can steal and get the best ideas from around the country. But we need to focus on this. We need someone that has vision to see where we're going and to make sure we can change Michigan from being known as part of the Rust Belt to becoming a high-tech hub of the Midwest.
Along with that, I saw something on your webpage about green manufacturing. So do you want to talk about that a little bit too?
Yeah, and unfortunately, under the current administration, is they've put that on the back burner and has this obsession with coal. Going forward is green manufacturing, solar, wind, and natural gas are the ways of the future.
Yeah, it's interesting because Detroit DTE has been marketing that their energy costs keep going down. And I'm like, well, that's interesting.
Because mine haven't.
Well, I guess the businesses are going down some, but is it due to some of the changes of energy, getting the energy from the sun, from wind, from other places that is affecting the energy costs right now?
Well, as far as I know, there's multiple pieces to it. Some of it is going to the green energy. Some of it, as they state in their commercials, is from the tax break. That I didn't agree with. I thought it should have been targeted if you were going to do a tax break at a national level. Uh-huh. So it is moving to greener powers and having a better power mix. That's one of the things with the federal government putting a push on coal, which is disingenuous. Most of your utility companies in the United States have a goal to get off coal, to make their energy portfolio be only 20% reliant on coal. Because coal is a dirty power. I mean, it was a great thing. We needed it for years, but we have better solutions. And we need to drive that at the state level and work with DTE. Because DTE is they're taking the lead, but we need to make sure they're getting everything they need to go 100% green.
I have another question. One of the biggest issues in Michigan that seems to always get pushed to the side. Everybody says we're going to do something about it, and it's why do we? Where is your position on insurance rates for Detroiters, and how are we going to fix these insurance rates in our state? Just if you could quickly your position on that, and then we need to wrap up and let us know why someone should vote for you instead of Mr. Lucido.
The quick thing on insurance is what I just said a second ago that tails into it. We need to get a bipartisan blue ribbon panel together and study all the insurance rates across the country and find out what they're doing great, what they're doing wrong, and get a bill on the floor by the end of the year and vote on it. Because insurance rates are too high. We have issues where they're redlining, charging people more for their zip codes, and we need to have a deep dive what everyone's doing right in the country, bring it back and vote on it. And it's something that should be bipartisan because everybody realizes we are paying too high insurance rates.
Oh yeah, I mean, but like I have friends in Chicago and in big cities who pay half of what I know I'm paying.
And I think that's good. That's really going to affect our growth of it as a city. It's going to affect our everything. When your insurance costs aren't affordable and you can't buy a car, that means you can't drive. And,
and
you know, I mean, it's a serious matter. No one's really taking this serious. We pay 10 times some other states' insurance rates. Why?
Well, one of the reasons why is we have no fault in Michigan.
No, I know that, but I mean,
well, hear me out. Just hear me out. And what makes us different than the other no-fault states is every other no-fault state has no-fault insurance. It's a matter of public law that the insurance companies have to release how much the profit is at the end of the year. Michigan passed a law where they don't have to do it anymore. And there's multiple reasons why we're paying more, but that's one of them. The lack of transparency.
Yeah, I would think that this would hopefully be an issue in this upcoming election.
I mean, everybody talks about it, but I don't see anything happening. And, you know, I heard something that there was supposed to be a special thing for Detroit, and then there was supposed to be something for this. But, you know, when is somebody going to do something about it? You know, is my question.
I pledge, as I interrupt you, I pledge that I will do something when I'm elected. I'll make one of my key things. So believe me, I get enough grief from my family about the insurance rate.
I know.
Well, you heard it here, folks, that Paul Francis said he's going to do something about these insurance rates.
I'll stick to my word.
We really appreciate that, and we appreciate you calling, Paul. We wish you luck on your Senate race for the state Senate. Thank you, and thank you, Representative Lucido, today. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, and everybody have a great weekend, okay?
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
All right, next on, we have Colin Lalonde. He is an expert on developing people's talents. Hi, Colin. How are you, and welcome to the show.
Mr. Danko, how are you, sir?
Excellent, excellent. I want to touch right away with what our last caller was talking about as far as developing our labor here, and he talked about some universities and what's going on. Colin, what's your opinion about our talent pool in Detroit for our future?
Well, I don't know. I think the first thing we need to address is, do people really need to go to school for 4 years and be in debt after 4 years with the $125,000, $150,000 debt?
Good question.
I think people that have an aptitude for programming and working in technology, if you already have an aptitude for that, there are boot camps that are 8 weeks long. They're $18,000, $15,000 to $18,000. That seems like a lot of money.
Yeah.
But if you go to these boot camps that are very reputable, they're working with Microsoft, Google, and all these high-tech companies. And pretty much after you go through the boot camp, you get your certification, and obviously you need to fundamentally have a tech coding background before you go into the boot camp. But you're guaranteed, when you're done with this 6 to 8 week boot camp, you're guaranteed a six-figure job.
Do they
Microsoft, Google, these app developers specifically.
Do they teach
iOS, Droid? Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, are they teaching ethics? Like, everybody walked out on Google yesterday because of all the stuff happening there. I mean, you can have a boot camp, but ethically, how are they going to play in the modern world if they're a 17-year-old kid with 6 weeks of education?
Yeah, but I don't know that you're getting an ethics course in college regardless.
Well, let's do the math here. I think if you tested a young man or woman that was well-versed in coding for apps, they go to the boot camp, and then somebody else ends up on the other end after a 4-year education in computer science. One is going to be $18,000 in debt, and the other is going to be $120,000 in debt, and they both know the exact same skill set. So, to me, especially in the tech sector. I don't think companies, especially the talent crisis in certain areas like analytics and coding and app development and cloud technologies, these people are in huge demand, and I don't think companies are really myopically focused on a college degreed individual, but an individual that can pass the tests to make sure that they know what they're doing. I think that's all the companies are concerned about. So
Sure.
unless you want that enriching, partying, drinking, college experience.
We're talking about building well-rounded people, but I think it's going to change. The education of our labor pool is changing with online courses and all these different levels of acceptance from the corporations. They're saying, well, we don't need a 4-year degree. We just need this at this moment.
Exactly.
Exactly. We have about 1 minute left of the show.
Yeah.
I want to ask you one direct question: is Detroit ready for the future from a human resources standpoint? Yes or no?
That's not a yes or no question. I just think we're in a talent crisis.
So that means
as
no.
Far as, I have buddies that own franchises, Burger King, McDonald's, people even working in that area. As soon as the boss screams at them, they're walking out, and guess what they do? They walk out and they go right next door to Wendy's. So whether you're working in the food industry or the tech industry, I think
we might need to let those.
We're in a demand of finding people.
Well, we might need to open up the borders instead of block them.
Well, that's a whole.
Hey, Colin, I want to thank you for calling in. I want to thank you for calling.
Note.
Yes.
Oh, have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you for the
We'll
call.
talk again.
And thank you, everybody, for listening to Very Detroit.